So we have a few different injury updates to go over on this Thursday afternoon. If you guys want more Packers updates, Packers news, feel free to subscribe down below. But first off here, I want to share what Matt LaFleur had to say today in his press conference regarding Christian Watson, who's recently been practicing after going through a long process of recovering from his ACL injury he suffered late last season. But here we have from Rob Demovsky on X, who says, Packers coach Matt LaFleur said Christian Watson looks great in practice and said, we'll see if he's activated for Sunday's game, just trying to build up to where we feel comfortable, and he does. So that's at least a good sign that there's some kind of chance of Christian Watson playing in Sunday's game, and maybe if it's not this Sunday, it'll be the next Sunday. And there's no doubt that once Christian Watson comes back, because of his deep speed, what he can do, and just his size in general, he adds another great weapon to this Packers offense, and considering how good Jordan Love has already played with missing Jayden Reed, missing Christian Watson, once Watson's back and then once Jayden Reed eventually gets healthy, that just gives the Packers, that much more explosiveness on the offensive side of the ball. And Christian Watson, last season was so good before he went down, just with those, deep passes and connecting with Jordan Love in that way. And then we have here from Rob Demovsky as well on X, Packers offensive coordinator Adam Stenavich on Christian Watson's ramp up in his return from ACL injury. Quote, every day he's taking a few more reps and hopefully someday soon we'll get him out there. End of quote. Added that Watson has looked good with what he's done in practice so far. So it looks promising for Christian Watson. Now I want to go over the updates from today's practice. I went over the updates yesterday, and we'll see if there's any changes here. And then I will be out with a video tomorrow breaking down the final injury report, which players are going to be playing, which ones are questionable, things like that. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But here we have from Thursday's injury report. This was shared on X by Matt Schneidman. First off, Aaron Banks, groin/knee, limited both Wednesday and Thursday. I would assume he plays, considering he played last week. Then Anthony Belton back this week practicing, ankle, limited Wednesday and Thursday. And then Warren Brinson, abdomen/neck, fully practiced Wednesday, Thursday. So that looks like he's on track to be okay there. Bullard, concussion evaluation, not listed today after fully practicing yesterday. Not exactly sure what that's about. And then Matthew Golden's shoulder, fully practiced Wednesday, Thursday, looks fine. Josh Jacobs, limited Wednesday, Thursday. He went through that illness on Sunday, and it sounds like he should be fine considering, he played through it last week. It looks like he's, should be getting better. Brandon McManus, right quadricep, didn't practice Wednesday and Thursday. So here's one where he could miss a game once again. He missed last week's game after suffering this injury at practice last week. The Packers signed Haversick. He comes in, makes 2 field goals, 3 extra points, played pretty good. And you'd have to assume seeing Haversick come in and make all of his field goals would have to give the Packers some kind of confidence that he could probably come in and fill in once again. And so I assume that may allow them to be a little more patient with McManus, because I feel like you don't want your kicker playing through an injury if they don't need to, just because you don't want it to be something that causes problems later down the road. But we'll see tomorrow if he practices and if he's in line to play. But right now, not looking like it's headed that way with him not practicing Wednesday and Thursday. Jacob Monk limited, hamstring Wednesday, Thursday. Morgan limited with knee Wednesday, Thursday. And then Zach Tom didn't practice on Wednesday with his oblique/back injury. Now he was limited Thursday, so that's a good sign. He played on Sunday, but it looked like he was dealing with some soreness. But to see him limited, that's a good sign for Tom. Van Ness didn't practice Wednesday, Thursday with a foot injury he suffered last game after the sack. And Matt LaFleur did say early in the week that it's not a long-term problem, or it shouldn't be a long-term problem, but it seemed that he was uncertain how long Watson would be out. Or sorry, not Watson, Van Ness would be out. And so it looks like he's not going to play on Sunday, just with him not practicing Wednesday and Thursday, unless something changes tomorrow. But that will probably be the case, which just means that Kingsley Enagbare will have to come through more, probably take some of those snaps from Van Ness, as well as potentially Barron Sorrell as well. Christian Watson, we already talked about him, limited Wednesday, Thursday. Dontavian Wicks ankle limited Wednesday, Thursday. And then Devontae Wyatt, unfortunately, didn't practice Thursday once again. And so since he suffered the injury against the Cowboys, hasn't played, and he's a massive part of this Packers defense. And so let's hope he can practice tomorrow, but it's not looking like that's going well, at least right now with him not practicing. both Wednesday and Thursday. But stay tuned for the updates tomorrow. I also put out a Packers-Cardinals prediction video in the past hour or so you can check that out on my channel. I also have a second channel where I cover the rest of the NFL. I've put out a video each weekday so far this week. Talked on Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers today, and you can click down below. It'll say NFL channel. If you want to check that out and subscribe, feel free to in the description section down below. But thank you guys for watching, as always, and I'll see you guys next time.